Loading, loading, loading. Let's see if this works. Great. All right. Welcome. I'm going to be making no. I'm going to be making one Gantt chart, one Gantt chart in Excel because I need to do something similar for two different foundation clients later this week. And there's a few different options for making this. So I'm going to be figuring them out and all the details, setting up some pretend data behind the scenes so that everything links together. So the goal is the data set that goes into a table that goes into a Gantt chart so that when the clients enter their new data in the data set about their new grants, it automatically tallies itself and recodes itself and cleans itself in the table. And then it automatically visualizes itself in the Gantt chart so that they can save that as a PDF and share it with their supervisors. Okay, so let's try this. I know how to do it as a chart. Do I know how to do it as a not chart? As a not chart. Welcome to people just joining us. Say hi in the chat. I can see there's people here, but I can't see who. All right, let's see. Oh, and I'm going to be listening to music. I might talk once in a while as I'm working, but I do best with my music on. Hi, Victor. Yes, it's an Excel party. Glad to see you in for a second. Once I figure this out, I'll record like a 5-minute tutorial of like, hey, here's what I made, but I don't know how to make it yet. So I can't make that video yet. Let's see. Okay, it's gonna be one row per grant. Hmm. All right, let's make a pretend data set. Let's see, how many did they have in real life? Let's make, yeah, about, no, one of the one of the people had like 75-ish. Another person maybe had 50. Let's do 75 pretend projects. Okay. Grantee A might have a bunch of different projects. These would be org names. Let's pretend F has a bunch. This is pretty similar to what I see in real life. Oops. Okay. What else did they have? They had category. That's something we have to be able to sort by. Let's pretend. I hope you enjoy how I make up pretend data sets. I think there were like 4 to 7 categories for each of the foundations that I'm working with. Categories, topics. Trying to make a real data set, but not a real data set. Because once I figure out this flow, oh my gosh, it's going to save me and them so much time. Let's make like 5 pretend categories / topics. Some of the foundations have subcategories, but that's not relevant for these Gantt charts. Oh, and then they also have like funding amount. Trying to remember if both of the real data sets have one row per one has one row per project. Another has one row per funding amount. Does it? No. Both by project, grant, or grants level. Let's make up some numbers. The real numbers were like, what was the smallest grant I'd maybe see? Maybe 50,000 up to like 5 million. Might need to open the real spreadsheet not in front of you, obviously, and peek and just make sure I've got the layout right of what I'm trying to all set up. Let me do that on my other screen. Let me stop sharing just in case. I would hate to go to NDA jail. Music I'm listening to. So good. Hmm. Yeah, one row per project. Okay, great. All right, we can safely share again. I need to figure this out for myself anyway. It's always been on my rainy day to-do list to figure this out, to figure out this like workflow, and all the magic that's needed behind the scenes and all the linkages. So today's the day because I have a couple hours of time before a couple of meetings, and I know I'm gonna have to be figuring this out later anyway. So it's perfect. It's finally turned from a rainy day, like, oh, someday I'll figure that out project to like, oh, finally I have an opportunity to do it. I'm so glad. Okay, you know how to do that one. Let's try to do this one. Um, okay, pretend funding amounts. Start, how do I make up pretend start dates and end dates? In real life, these are like 2015 to 2025 about for one project. Another one's more like 2020 through 2025. Let's do 2015 dates. Okay, let's see. What is today's date in Excel language? In Excel language, it's day 45,000 since the Excel world started, January 1st, 1900. So, um, let me do rand between, let's make up days between like 40,000 and 4,500. What dates does that give us? 2011? Yeah, that's good. And let's make the end dates be like, I don't know, a couple of years later. Let's add, it'd all be at least a year in this case, and maybe up to like 5 years. I don't want to accidentally make dates in the future. This date plus a year to 5 years more. That should be perfect. Okay. Um, and that's okay. It's okay if it's ongoing. Yeah, that works. That's a good pretend data set right there. Okay. Let's see. What do we need to know? In the Gantt chart, we don't want the full dates. We want the month. Let's just do these in pieces so you can watch. Start month, start year, end month, end year, length. Do we need to know the length? I don't think so. Do we? No, I don't think that's applicable for this one. We need to be able to make it go across. Okay, these are the notes. These are my notes, but the actual Gantt chart is going to look like I won't sing out loud. It's killing me softly. Okay, let's make it's going to be the project name, and it's going to be one tiny column per month. Imagine a slicer right here. We would do by category and let's see, by start year. Start year. Yeah. Start year. Let's see. Yeah. I'm thinking of at least one of the conversations I had with people that they said that'd be helpful. Okay, categories. We'd also have a slicer for start year. Would we need end year? I don't think so. I think they mostly want to know like which grants started in which general era. Now categories, not the exact dollar amount. Small, medium, large. Let's do that. Yeah. Okay. Project name. And then what did I start our pretend data set? 2015, I think. So I need to know like January 2015, February 2015. There's going to be a million columns for 10 years. 10 years worth. How many? This many? Some of them don't end yet. So some of them might start now and they might be 5-year grants. So we'd have to go up to like here. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine the year 2030. There's December here. It's going to be that. It's in the G's. Oh my gosh. Okay, those will all be hidden and they'll all be like this big. They're going to be like that big. Yeah. And they're going to be colored in. Like this will be like project A, project B. And then maybe this one is colored in here. And this one's colored in here. And this one's colored in here. But they're going to be colored and sorted by the category. This is where all the magic comes in. It's going to be like this. And let's see. So I know what the data set looks like. And I know what the end product looks like. Connecting the pieces. That's the hardest part, obviously. I don't know why I sign on to do projects like this. I don't have anybody else to refer these to. Okay, these are going to be colored by, these will be their brand colors in real life, but it'll look something like this. And then the tricky part is we need to have the amount in there. Oh my gosh. We need the amount like floating in there. It doesn't have to be floating. Maybe the amount is just on the left or the right. I'm thinking of a draft that a client mocked up and they had the amounts floating in the middle, but that's because they built it with a stacked bar chart. It doesn't have to be a stacked bar chart. It could be, let's put the amounts on the left. That should be fine. So they'll be tied to the cell on the left. Or honestly, the amounts could just be like here. If I put the amounts here, they'll be cut off. I don't know if you can automatically merge or unmerge cells. I don't know. The amount might have to go right here. And that may be just fine. What a cute little pretend data set. Okay, in real life, these would be like millions, most likely. It's going to look something like this. Um, but times 5 categories. And I need these to automatically fill in. So it's going to be linked conditional formatting, not regular conditional formatting. Or could it be? What's the easiest way to do this? Because I have to make a template for these groups and then pass the baton to them. What's the easiest way for them to follow this and run with it in the future? Could have. Um, I could have like an X fill in. And then or it's like a X or shoot, we could do like literal tic-tac-toe. It could be like O's. Why don't make a tic-tac-toe, Gantt? And then these would be automatically white. And if there's an X, it means to color it, but it can only color it based on the category. That's bonus if we can make the categories different colors. And then where are these slicers going to be connected? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know where these are going to go. Because slicers can be linked to Excel tables, pivot charts. So if I turn the data set into an Excel table, that should be enough. That should be enough. Is that what I want to do? I want to populate this based on the column header. Like if the grant was active at all in January 2015, fill in an X. So these are count ifs. These are not count ifs. These are lookups. Okay, let's do, again, we've got to connect the pieces. Connecting the data set and the Gantt chart. I should probably finish designing this first and think of exactly what I want it to look like, because that will help me figure in the middle link of how to connect them. The data set, now let's just do some easy stuff. Give my brain a break, right? I want that month. I want that year. Little brain break. And then I want that month. I'm going to do this in lots of columns. I could do it in one column. Um, how do I know though? I need to be able to fill in it was active between those. I don't know how to do that. Hence the point of working on it, right? Um, it's an if that's between. It's a it's a between. Is it a or statement, an and statement? Hmm. I could look up other tutorials on the internet, obviously, of how people have made Gantt charts like this, but nobody on the internet has exactly what I need. It's going to be 50 million variations of 50 million things I don't need. So I don't want to go down a rabbit hole and just lose an hour or two on things that aren't going to help me either. Although this is a part I might need to figure out dates between here. Yes, that might be worth Googling. These are all added columns. Should we turn this into an Excel table? I think so. This is the data set because that'll let us add slicers. Let me uncolor it though so it doesn't burn my eyes out. What else are we gonna need in here? We should turn the funding amounts into small, medium, large. What are we gonna define as a small funding amount in here? Um, this is so relevant to each grant maker. Maybe we'll do under 1 million. These are fairly real amounts that the foundation that I'm working with right now has. Let's do maybe 3 categories worth. What are the cutoffs going to be? Maybe we will do a small is a 0 to maybe 1 million. For the foundations I work with, I think they would consider that small. Medium, let's say that's like 1 million to 399. That's too many millions. No, that's too many digits. What am I thinking? That. And maybe large is 4 million plus. Yeah. If this, nothing like doing a nested if live, my least favorite one. So if it's under 1 million, then we'll call that small. And if it's under 4 million, then we'll call that medium. Otherwise, we'll call it large. Would they have any missing data in the real version of the spreadsheet? No, nothing would be empty. Everything would absolutely have a funding amount. Um, oops, 3 opening parentheses, 3 closing. Oh, I missed something. If that is less than a million, comma, small. If it's less than 4 million, medium, otherwise large. What's wrong with my formula? Why is it? Yeah, it's a formula. Why is it not thinking it's a formula? Um, I have too, I don't have too many. Yeah, I have too many. Okay, my bad. 3 categories, 2 opening parentheses. That is backwards. That is backwards. Of course, I got it backwards. I always joke that I get these things backwards. There. Much better. Let's see. Small. What did I define as the cutoff? Million. Medium. Large, we'll say 4 million. Do I have some larges that I made up? Yeah. Okay. So this can feed into the slicer. Start year can feed into a slicer. Highlight those so I remember them. And category should feed into a slicer. Okay. Let's add some slicers. Do we want to add slicers to this, or do we want to add slicers to the middle step, the intermediate step? Does it matter? I don't think so, because this, if you slice and dice this, it's going to be linked to that anyway. Does it matter when you slice? It shouldn't matter as long as it feeds into the Gantt. I think we should be okay. Insert slicer. I want category, start year, funding amount by category. I don't think we need to slice by those. No. Okay. These are going to go over here with the delete the ugly placeholders. They're going to go over here. They're going to go like right there. They'll be formatted by the time we're done, but not now. Let's just make them little itty bitties. Okay, still got to connect the pieces. How do I make what's the intermediate step? Somehow, okay. Do I need to do a pivot? Because if they select this category, I want that category to show up with the projects underneath. So how do I make that show up? How do I link regular cells to a slicer? Um, I need to have this. I need to have, I think, do I need to have a master list of the categories and projects? Let's see. How do I make that conditional? I've done this a million times before, linked to a pivot table. Do I have to make a pivot? It seems like unnecessary work. Let's listen to music again. I don't know why I paused it. Turn my brain off. Let it do its thing. All the answers are up there. Let's listen to some. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what I'm listening to. Yeah, this one's good. Okay. No Excel tables. No, I had to do year, month. Did I not just change that? Oh, refresh. Welcome to people who are here live. Say hi in the chat. Let me know what you're working on today. Why is this still showing up as month dash year? I changed it to year dash month, did I not? Oh, they didn't all fill in because my data set was filtered. Okay, there we go. What if I link the slicers here? Let's just see. Maybe this just has to be a pivot table, but that's the start year. I don't need the start year. I need the years in between filled in. How do I fill in that piece? Oh, yeah, yeah. Maybe it doesn't have to be a Gantt chart. Maybe it can be a really, really cute pivot table. Um, Totals there are important. Totals there might be important. I don't think I need these totals. Maybe. I mean, you could sort of Gantt this. Like, this is halfway correct. This would be the finish it in under an hour correct version. It's only the start year, though. How do I get the in-between years? That's only start year. Mhm. Okay, returns true, false. Let's try this. I knew it was an and or an or. I need to have the start year, start date over here. Not have project A. What did I mess up? Looking up that in that. Oh, let's pretend project one does start in January 2015. Say it starts, let's say it's their first one. Oops. So it should be colored in that whole way. Let's just make it nice and even. Colored in that whole entire span. Let's see. That is greater than or equal to, that needs to be linked to this. And if this is less than or equal to, this isn't right, is it? Just a regular if. No. What is this? I've never seen that before. That's if it falls between a range. That's not right. I've never, I have to put date here. Duh. I was like, I've never seen dates in that format before. Um, this could come from up here. Obviously, this wouldn't get printed or PDF'd. These are helpers and italics off to the left. Maybe I'll make a space to make that super clear. I'm considering some helpers up top. Um, I just need to know if the start date is between these, between these, but not if the start date, if the whole thing. Oh my gosh. I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. Of course, Minda's figured this out. Of course, I'm going to use conditional formatting. Yes, duh. But mine needs to be so much more complex than this. So many more things. Okay. Because these need to automatically show up and be categorized. Uh, these need to. So I probably do need to have the start date, the end date. Probably both helpers. I can do that. I want these to only show up based on slicers. The slicer issue is really tricky in here. So many layers of sophistication. One layer at a time, man. One layer at a time. One layer at a time. I know how to do conditional formatting. Of course it's that. A lot of people have helper columns, of course. That one's made with a chart. I don't want that one. That shows all the categories. I mean, that's Zapier too. That shows all the categories. I want the categories to, the categories have to conditionally appear. Okay, I know how to do that part. I know how to do that part. Let's make the categories and the projects conditionally appear. That can be, let me close out that. Does it matter where these slicers go? Okay, that's how to get them to appear. That's easy. Let's just start with the easy stuff. No totals. Okay, that's a list. Let's name this to stay organized. Categories, projects, list. Great. I somehow add a space here. No, that'd be really nice though, right? Okay. I fill in the end date too. Yeah, I'm gonna need those helpers, aren't I? Could be potentially. How long? I made up 75 pretend projects, 5 pretend categories. It shouldn't be that long. Yeah, that long. Okay. And then if that is blank, leave it blank. Otherwise, show it to me. And how far would it go? This far. Let's future proof it a little bit. Let's say they add more projects next year. Maybe we'll make it go up to like 110. That's good. Okay. Um, Oops, not project. Let's make the categories bold. And can't change the size. Is that because it's a formula? Probably. Okay, that helps. I could, to make these indented, I could put the projects over here. That might be cuter, right? Somehow I need to get the amounts. look up the project name in here. Give me the amount. Would any be blank? No. Oh, these would be blank. Ooh, should that be a sum? Yes. Yes, that would be more helpful. I'm thinking of the end audience for these. Let's sum if these. Oh, hello. Chart vibing, yeah. Fighting. Chart fighting, chart sparring. Or vibing. Yeah, we're vibing. We're figuring some stuff out. Okay, what are we summing? Let's see. We are summing this, but only if this is that. Yeah? Ooh, but I want an X lookup or a sum ifs. Am I ifing these? But in real life, this wouldn't say category. It would be like bloody blah. It would be I can't say the real categories out loud. It would be the grant making topic. Nutrition, children and families, community development. It would be words. So I can't make that happen in real life. Let me just do a blanky blank. If that's NA, then I'll just do a blanky blank. Um, who's knocking on my door? Somebody's at my doorbell. Let me check on the camera. I'm not gonna walk all the way downstairs if it's strangers here. Who is at my front doorbell? Oh, just my kids. Husband got home from the gym. The kids are playing at the doorbell. Okay, no big deal. Don't have to go downstairs. Okay, where were we? Let's see. Um, let's see. It's false. We're gonna make it go away. It's gonna be invisible. And if it's true, is this gonna stay as true false? Maybe. That seems pretty promising so far. If it's true, it's gonna be colored based on the category that it's in. Bonus. That'd be bonus points. We can always figure that out later. There's infinite ways to customize this. Just fill it in brand color 1 for now. And font has to be invisible. Okay. This part can't be entered by hand, obviously. How can I automate that part? Thought I filled this in. Maybe I didn't. Oh, maybe I filled it in up there. My bad. Why is this, why is this bouncing around? Carlos, this is what I'm trying to make. I want a data set for foundations who track grants, which I've made up a pretend data set with one row per project. So like the same grantee might run multiple projects. I've got start and end dates from 2015 through 2030, I think. I'm trying to mimic a real project without this being the real project. I've got categories, I've got amounts. I don't think I have to do any of this recoding. Okay, so I'm trying to link that to some, I know something in the middle goes here. So there's something, and then make that populate in a Gantt. But the Gantt is not a regular Gantt, it's a slicer Gantt. So that's why I'm figuring out like where the slicers go. Um, and I just need a 1 or 2 page PDF. It's probably going to be like 2 pages, maybe 3 or 4, depending on how many projects are shown. Um, like what's the middle piece? I think this is the final end product that I need. Maybe I don't need a middle piece. Maybe I don't need a middle. Maybe I can just do all the formulas within here. Maybe I don't need an extra sheet. Well, I do at least for the categories. Let's make sure that works. Category A is selected. No, these aren't linked over there, are they? What did I link this to? Oh, the data set. Okay, no. I need to link these to the pivot tables. Pivot table, maybe pivot tables. What do I need here? Category, start year, and they also want to slice and dice by big grants, little grants, etc. Okay. Carlos, I don't know what pivot by is. Do I need to learn? Maybe. Maybe I need to learn for this. There's so many things to learn about Excel. But sometimes it's one of those things I haven't set aside time to learn yet that is the missing link. So maybe it's a pivot by, I don't know. You tell me. Okay, let's just make sure this works. Category A, selected in the slicer. Therefore, that's shown in the pivot. Therefore, those projects show up. Okay, awesome. Start year work. Yeah. Are these the ones that started in 2016? I should put these in different columns because then I can do the category sums. Yes, let's do that. Category, wait. You know what? For the viewable part, it's just going to look like this. This is going to be a really narrow column by the time we're done with it. Okay, I want the categories. Ooh, but if that's a pivot table, how does it show up? I can't just link it. I want this type of indentation, but in separate columns. Maybe that's a problem for another day because that's just a link right now. It's not just the Excel fighting, it's the viz. Making sure the viz is exactly how I want it. All the pieces have to fit together and flow forwards and backwards, which is why I love puzzles like this. I know I'm not going to tackle this in just a couple hour work session, but I wanted to start it now so I can sleep on it and then sleep on it again so that when I have to do this for a client project, I already have like the big pieces figured out. Um, and then I get to have the answer in my brain for the rest of my career, which is super rewarding. That's the light at the end of the tunnel, too. Okay, let's see. Maybe that's a second layer thing. Like I only want those to show up if they are the categories. But in real life, it can't just be conditional formatting because in real life, that would say food insecurity, humanitarian efforts. It would be totally different words. And these in real life might be 10 words long. Okay, we'll do that in a separate column for later. Should we deal with the date coloring in, the between dates? Yeah, maybe. Honestly, I don't even use and very often. I don't. It's like a once a year formula. Let's make this bigger. No, I don't want to make it bigger because then the stuff I enter is going to be bigger. Um, okay, this one works, but it's hand coded. Oops, oops, oops. I didn't mean to do that. Let's do another one that's not hand coded. Whoops, where'd it go? Okay, let's do one right here that is linked to this and this. Greater than this date, less than this date. Greater than or equal to this date, less than this date. Let's do it. That should work, right? Famous last words. That is between dates I set. This one is between helper cells. These are going to be not shown in the final PDF. There'll be something cute here. How the heck are we going to slice and dice this? Oh my gosh. I mean, we could do the same, like, we could do the same workaround back here. We could literally do that. Make them appear if they're shown in the pivot. Yeah, let's do it. I don't see why that wouldn't work. Why would that not work? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can I not copy paste this? List of all the months. The start date, not the quarters. How do I make it open? And I wanted to show even the months that were skipped. In real life, were there any months skipped? Yes. On one of these real life Gantt charts, they did a bunch of grants and then they didn't fund that topic for a couple of years because it was a problem that went away. They didn't need to fund it. And then they funded it again. So there's a whole like blank spot in the Gantt chart. It needs to show February, even if February is not there. Um, I mean, this halfway works. What if the printable part, printable meaning like this is the fancy part. How long could this be? I don't know. This long? Okay. It only needs to stay year because this is going to be a bajillion columns. It's going to go over into the G's. We can't label by month. We don't need to. We just need to label by year. It needs to be like 2015, like this. That's on the printable view, etc. So 2016 would be like over there someplace. Okay. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. We've actually solved a lot. Come on, Annie. You can do it. Let's do it. Let's do an and. It's gonna be that, but not. No, 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 no. Okay, let's mimic this. Um, am I linking it off these or off these? Carlos had to jump, but maybe use repeat. Um, it's greater than or equal to this. Lock. And if it's this, greater than or equal to January 1st, but less than February 1st, lock. Format, paint. That's only the start date. Something's up with my mouse. It's not letting me click. My phone's dinging because it's finding my husband on the security camera. He's moving mulch. I just want to make sure. Weird people knock on our door sometimes, so. You never know who it could be on the cameras. Okay, this works, but it's only based on start date. We need it to be based on the between date. Something's up with my mouse. I'm clicking here and it's showing me up there. I don't want to show up there. Let's pretend this one started in, oh, I shouldn't have made any start that early. I meant to make them start all in like 2015 or later. Hmm. To mimic a real life project. Oops, that's the end date. My bad. My bad. What am I doing? Well, it shouldn't end that. It shouldn't end that anyway. 1 2015. That's only the start date. Of course, these are upside down. Can you reverse alphabetize a slicer? Yes. Info about IEP meetings for my son. Always got to pick those up. Those are important calls you don't want to miss. Okay, let's see. I might be ready to call it a day here because I figured out a lot of the big picture pieces and not all of them, but a lot. For example, this is colored in based on the start date. We just needed to fill in based on the in between dates. Something about that. This is linked to that. The slicers work. I think I can make it color code by category. Like one brand color for this, one brand color for the next one. I think. Let's make up some more early start dates. Let's pretend this is just to see what this is going to look like. Did I not just make some up? Oh, duh. Yeah. How do I fill them in based on the between dates? Um, because it's linked to these. It needs to be linked also to these. This could be linked to a slicer. Maybe that's where the slicer comes in, linked over there to the helpers or linked to the top. Hmm. Well, in 90 minutes, I feel pretty happy with what I figured out so far. Should we try a little bit more? Let's try some more. Um, I know how to do the color coding by category. The music, it's so good. All right, I can do the color coding by category. Might not need this. We'll see. In real life, this will be the client's colors. Just trying to get the categories and the colors right. Brand color one, brand color two, etc. Let's just go in order. How many categories do they have in real life? I think they have four. That should work. Because look, when I set up their colors, it'll be like, it'll change. It'll change to theirs. It should be perfect. Okay. This is colored based on that. Hmm. Hmm. It's a formula. If that, is this how it works? That's killing in only category A's. Hmm. Ugh. Again, it's the day of and. All right, I can do that. This and this and this. This and this. Okay. This and this. I have to think of the location in my head. Okay, so it's this, not just based on C20. Yeah, dollar C, no dollar. And if this, which has a true false in it, no dollars, go away dollars. Can I just type it then? Equals true. True doesn't have to go in quotes because it's an Excel language. That, why can't I type and up here? One thing I hate about conditional formatting customizations is you have to usually just type it correct from the beginning. You can't like click on the cell you want. You have to type it. So you have to know the exact formula ahead of time, which is so stupid. C20 equals, really, I should link that. That's okay. And if G20 equals true, then it's purple. Unless it's category B, I want it blue. Is that an if? If goes in there someplace. And all these true falses. If it's false, go away. Uh, make it away. Okay, so by default, it's white font, except these. These are only the start dates, though. Better? Ugh, what's that? That needs to be linked. I hate doing this hard-coded. It's not terrible, but it's not great. You can't even copy that. Isn't that annoying? You can't even highlight it. Let's just see if this is right. Layered conditional formatting links. Yeah. I mean, it already worked. It already spilled from this, already spilled. Okay. I think the only remaining problem is it's colored based on the start date, not the in-between date. Also, why is my mouse not? I'm clicking on this cell. Click where I want you. Okay. Are we almost done? It's just that it needs to be colored, not based on the start date, but based on these. This needs to be added to. If it's between there and between there, is it another and? Can and go on and on and on? Can and go this and this and this? Yeah. Yeah. Is that all we have to do? Just add another two things? Let's check our slicers. Okay, here's just, oh no, everything except A. Let's do just A in purples. Just B in blues. Oh my gosh. Just C's in, it will be green. I haven't filled those in. D, E. Okay, okay, we're getting there. And then, how are we going to do start year though? That part I didn't link yet. This will be linked to the pivot, probably. Except the pivot needs to show all the dates. So that's going to be that's going to be like a two-level solution, a couple intermediate steps. Is this linked? This should be visualized in some way. Should these be bars? It's weird to have a bar next to a Gantt. I don't know. But in real life, this is going to be like, it's going to be a half a centimeter wide. It might be worth it. Heat table or bars? I love bars. Oh, but the bars should be colored based on the category. Yes. Yes. Yes, based on the category. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. In real life, it's going to be like just little blips. Is it even worth it if they're just little blips? Maybe. Maybe. How do I color them based on the category? How do I color them based on the category? Let's color this based on the category. That'll be cute. It says category A. We're gonna do bold, purple. I can't change the font because there's a formula behind there. Oh, that should be good. Bold purple. I could link this too. I'm thinking, what if the foundation staff change the name of the categories? That happens every few years. To fully future-proof it, this shouldn't be hard-coded. That's okay. We can figure that out in the next pass. What did I do? A, B, C so far? Did I do D yet? A, B, C, D. In real life, those will be their colors. It'll be gorgeous. This isn't bad for how much I was able to figure out in less than 2 hours. Yes. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. How do I color the data bars based on that? I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I'm going to keep these anyway. Okay. I'll add this to the list of notes. This is the biggie. Once I solve that, I think I'm basically done. That's the big piece. Oh yeah. Make the dates appear along top based on the slicer. Link to pivot table, helper table. That's my best idea so far. Should we focus on this one? Okay. Let me make sure I know the ins and outs of the AND formula. Oh my gosh, I forgot I had coffee here. The rule is 2 cups of coffee and then lunch. The day doesn't start till we have our second cup. Doesn't matter what time it is. It could be 8 a.m., it could be 8 p.m. Day doesn't start till coffee's in the system. Okay. This reminds me of like middle school math, which I didn't really like. I didn't like math till high school, and I got to do stats because it was like seeing math. Um, I just want to make sure I understand the ins and outs of this formula so I can tweak it the way I need it. And because my brain is visual and spatial and not words, this is how my brain looks at the formula. True and true. This and this. That's what my brain is doing. This and this and this. I need to know the order everything goes in and like the little jumpy jumps. That's what I have to know in and out and have pictured in my head so I can tweak it. Okay. I think I need a and if. You know how I said the little jumpy jump? I think I'm going to do this. If, and that has to do with the top date, top date range. And that's the left date. And then the and's going to go here. I think it's that. If that's true, and that's true. Is that all I need? Is it that simple? Let me write this down before I forget. And if based on top date range, another if based on left date range. Okay, what do I have so far in here? Got a one-way, a one-way. Do I need to turn these into ifs? If it's between those. It's a nested if. It's not a regular if. It's a nested. It's an and with nested ifs. And with nested ifs. If you're here watching live, welcome. This is what I'm trying to figure out. I'm doing lots of linking. I've got a data set that the real versions. I'm trying to do this for 2 real clients soon. They're going to send me their data set once they do some tweaks to it, enter some more data. These are obviously not anybody's real projects or grant names or dates, but it has this structure in both of the projects that I'm working. This is like super typical for foundation data. Of course, it looks like this, 1 entry per project with like 20 columns of details about that grant. Of course. That is going to feed into a Gantt chart, but I think I might have just tons of helpers. Helpers everywhere. Not necessarily pivot tables to tally anything up, but I do have some helpers here. I've got some helpers here. I've got helpers here. Right now, this is colored and based on it's based on the start date, but I need it to be based on the between date. Okay. I dare delete this cute formula I have. Yes, I have to. Okay. What is this going to be? What did we decide this was going to be? It's going to be I think one of these. If and if. Except these aren't regular ifs. Ugh. Boo. Are they nested? Might be nested. Oh gosh, I hope not. I hate nested ifs. Everybody does. And I hate ands. So it's an and if this and this, this and this. Gross. What are the staff going to have to refresh to get this to automatically work? They're just going to have to refresh this. And then they use the slicers. That's not that bad. 1 refresh, use the slicers. That's a very reasonable amount of manual work, right? Yes. Okay. Let's do our first if. Well, the first if was kind of what we had. If what? If what based on what? I need the ifs. If the start date is between there, but it's not if the start date's between there, it's if the between there date is between there. Nope, the formula is not right. That's not the formula I need. All right. Oh, maybe I do a timeline instead of a slicer. Hi, Sue. Glad you're here. Just checking my calendar to make sure I'm not missing any meetings. I have a meeting in an hour and 12 minutes, but I need to do some other things before then. I hate to leave this unfinished because I have to tackle this for client stuff. And if I don't finish it right now, it's going to bother me until I finish it. So here we are. We're just in the messy middle. Okay. Um, durations. Durations. Maybe that's the word I need to be Googling. Duration instead of between. If the top. I'm one formula away from having this solved. Can't give up now. Of course, it's an if with an and. It's always the same crappy ones. Okay. If falls in that date range, then show true. Maybe it's not an and. Maybe it's just an if. Is it this? If the top month. No, it's a nested if. If the top month is, or is it the left, the start? No. If the top month is greater, greater than or equal to start date, and if the top month is less than the end date, then show me true. Otherwise, show me false. Is that the structure? Let's try it. Let's try it. Worst thing that's going to happen is we do another little cross out and we just keep going. um, there's only 50 bajillion possibilities. At some point, you figure it out, right? If the top month is greater than or equal to the start date, let's start with that. If the top date, so that's not a date, that's a freaking range. Hmm. Greater than or equal to that. Maybe it doesn't matter because it's still greater than. Might not matter. And if this state is less than that, is that right? No. Forgot my if structure. My brain's might have hit its limit. I hate leaving this hanging. If it's my favorite song. What did I do wrong there with my commas? This doesn't have a closing, right? Too many parentheses, right? What's wrong with this one? Why is it not liking this? Not a or. It's an and. I don't need a if. Do I need a if? Maybe I don't need a if. Of course, I solved it with my favorite song playing. Magic of music. Let's fix CDE. Okay. All right, let's color code based on category. Let's link these. Ugh. Oh, now I can copy them. I couldn't before. It's way better. So linked. Then they can fill in their real categories here. They don't have to retype anything. All right, that is A, Stu B. Three, blue. Let's go. So five? Are we on five? Why are these colored in? Why are these colored in? Because I made a bunch of January start dates. Is that true? Okay. These should be sorted by start date, shouldn't they? Yeah, they should be. Let's set these to automatically refresh when you open the file. That'll be a little bit less manual. Yeah, that'll help. I mean, every little bit helps, right? From 50 bajillion clicks down to as few as possible. Thought it was in here. Automatically refresh. Here it is. Oh, they all do it now. Yes. Yes. Okay, what should we tackle next? We're so close. Dates? Sorting? Sorting's bonus. Data bars? I don't know if we're going to keep that amount. Subtotals? I don't want to do those, but I don't know if those are going to get kept. This part. This part's important. Let's do that one. Okay. Let's do this one. How do I make the dates appear based on the slicer? I made these appear based on a pivot table. I think I could make these appear based on a pivot table. I've got the pivot table here. The problem is I need all the dates to show up. I don't need totals. No totals. That's off. And it shouldn't just be the start month, it should be the end month. I'm just trying to eliminate, I'm trying to make this list not too long. Did I make one start in 2010? I thought I made the start in 2015. Did I? Oh, that's by accident. I swear I fixed that. Let's make them like 2017. Um, I didn't make up a very good pretend data set to work with. Let's see. Let me make up some random numbers in the 42s. Okay. Um, Could have sworn I made sure the start dates didn't go before. That's okay. Okay. This should be good now. Great. Okay. Realistic start dates now. That's better. Okay. Okay, let's go through process of elimination. I don't want that to be a table. Helper tables TBD. We knew we were going to have some of these, right? I still have a 2009 date in there. What? I don't. Okay. If I only show, oh no, it shouldn't show these. Shoot. I showed 2015 in the slicer. Like if the staff only want to view grants that started that year, that controls the pivot, which then I'm going to link to the helper. And then the helper is going to go over to the top rows of the table of the Gantt. Somehow. Does that work? I needed to. Mm, mm. I don't want all these dates to show up. Why are these all yeses? I think the bars are competing with the Gantt for attention, so I'm gonna nix the bars. They were a nice try. That was just bonus. The client didn't ask for that. I wonder if I do a conditional formatting in this column instead. Maybe it doesn't matter. And then that could be colored in based on the category. That's just too much. This is the star of the show. This is the sidekick. Is that right? Does that not work in Excel? Maybe I don't need these words. Mhm. Mhm. Where'd my other slicer go? Oh, it's way over there. Is it? Yeah, you are. Where are you? There you are. You need to be stuck over here. Over here. Okay. We know that's the amount. We know that's the project. We don't need those words. We just need these. We need this. Don't need that one. This is going to be two cell. Yeah, that way. Where'd my years go? They disappear because they're too small? Did I not put years here? Can you not see them? I thought this might happen. Obviously, doing this manually one time is super easy, but it needs to be dynamic and sliced. Can't see these. Obviously, I could merge these cells, but then this slicer still needs to be connected to things. The manual way for the staff to control the years is they just hide a bunch of years they don't want to print. You know what, though? I think I can merge these. I think I can because they'd only show an entire year or not. They're not sorting by month. Yeah. Okay. I hate merging. Try not to merge into the last minute, but we're kind of there. What else do I want to do formatting wise? Are we done? I have 19 minutes till my next meeting, well, my first meeting of the day. So, what else can we tackle? Gets to be what? 0.25? 0.2? Of course, those don't show up. 2-digit years? Year. Not the 4-digit year. How do we get the 2-digit year? We want the left. No, no, not the left, the right, Annie. 2. It's true. I want the right of that. Ah, how many do I need? Not that many. If it's January, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. That needs to be black at the end. Do I not do? I feel like I don't need this one. Oh, just do this in stages. Why am I doing it all in one? It's like violates every Excel best practice. Here's my helper. Here, here. Just make more helpers, Anne. Why are you trying to make this harder than it needs to be? Okay. Expand your columns for the 50 bajillionth time. Just make more helpers. No big deal. Easier to modify later. Right. We're not doing left, we're doing right. Oh, can I not write these? Why not? Then show me this. Otherwise, leave it blank. I think that's gonna help. I'm just doing if statements on if statements. That doesn't help. Oops. Why can't I do that in one stupid formula? If the month is January, then show me that thing. But I don't want to be shown that thing. I want to take the year of that. But I don't want to take the full year. I want to take the 2-digit year. I want to do a right of that. And I want 2 digits. Is that not what I did before? I swear I did this before. I had a parentheses someplace in the wrong spot. And where's my little, I want single quote. and the right. That's all I want. I don't want all this crap up here. Okay, what is left? Sorting? Do I start sorting with 13 minutes before my meeting? Still a little smushy than I'd like. Okay, those are TBD. I mean, we're so close to exactly what we need. How do I sort it? What's it sorted by now? Alphabetically? We could at least sort it by grant size. That would be an easy one. Yeah. And to sort by grant size, I will put the grant here. And I'll sort by that. No, I want that to be alphabetized still, I think. I want these to be by largest to smallest, largest to small, or smallest to largest. Large down to small, large down to small. Should this be rounded? 4.9 million, 4.8 million? Probably. I really want a white space there. I know that something is small, but make it better. Oh, don't I need vertical gray lines? I need horizontal lines too. I don't think I need vertical lines anymore. It's gonna get too liney. Horizontal lines. It's too horizontal. Oh, right now we have white. Do we get rid of the white and add the gray? Maybe? Yeah, that still works. Do these get bold? No. We go here? And they're too smushed. All right, 2 cups of coffee. I can start my day now officially. 1:53. Now my brain switches to maybe breakfast would be good. Um, Gosh, I'm so happy with this. I think we are so close to being done of like exactly what this foundation needs. I mean, this is so much faster than what they had. Holy crap. Can I tackle one more thing before my meeting? In 6 minutes? Probably not. What would be the next thing I'd want to do? Oh, just horizontal line. I mean, that's obvious. I don't even need to write that on the list. That's dumb stuff. Um, it's really not that bad. That, and that. This one sucks. That one's not bad. Subtotals? How do we make the subtotal show up right there? Looking at the clock as if I don't have a meeting that I'm leading in 5 minutes. I know how to make the subtotal show up there. Yeah, I think I know it. Famous last words, as usual. Okay, it's gonna just be a pivot. List of all the categories. Projects. Let's make some space. It's gonna be a pivot and a helper. Yeah? Do I need a helper? if this equals that. No, I don't know how to do this. Then show me that. Otherwise, show me the value. But it's not just category A. It could be any of these. No, not broken. Don't fix it, Annie, but Annie. Okay, good enough for today. Holy crap, this is amazing. This is so good. Mm, a sliceable Gantt? Uh, uh, for anybody watching, let me give you a summary actually. Let me share one more time and show you what I was working on the past couple hours. I was definitely in the zone, which, good, right? Good to be working in your zone of genius and be challenging yourself a little bit, but not too much. So the goal was to have the data set that these real foundations have. I'm working with two different foundations who both mentioned that they needed a Gantt chart like this that they were doing manually. And they showed me how they were doing it behind the scenes. And it was just like all hand done. And they were like, this is taking too long. How can we speed this up? And I was like, I know I can figure it out. I don't know the answer yet, but the answer can be found. So their real data set looks it's like a grant level data set. Nothing unique about that. That's how all grant makers store their data, one row per grant/project. And what they wanted was a couple page PDF that, look, I can make this wider, but the project names in real life will be wider, so they'll need that space. They wanted a couple page PDF because the people that they're sharing this with, they're not going to open Excel and look at this. Of course not. They're gonna look at PDFs, printed out, brought to a meeting, or attached to an email. So that like the end goal was definitely a PDF Gantt chart. Um, and let's see. What did we do in here? There's so many cool things. There are a couple pivot tables. There's one slicer so far. There are these are ifs, it looks like. These are X lookups. Behind in each of these cells, there are ands and ifs. And the fill-in is conditional formatting, linked conditional formatting. So there's lots and lots of linked formatting here so that it's what colors right now, right? Like you recognize these. But when you change this to, let's pretend this was for like March of Dimes. It's not, but it would be their colors, okay? It would still be one color per category. And when they fill in their real categories and projects, or basically when I take this kind of shell or template and I adapt it to theirs, um, yeah, it'll all like automatically fill in with all their categories and projects. All right. Thanks for watching. See you later.